worst defensive rating for the season when it comes, offensive rating for the season in comparison to Pods. Because what we get confused about is that 16 points means that it is great offensive production. But what JK does, he's a ball stopper. He takes the ball, he disrupts the offense, and when he's not getting a bucket, it often leads to no points. But Pods can generate offense without scoring a bucket and by scoring a bucket, which makes him a better player. And then the last thing I want to say is we talk about JK like he's proven something. We say, oh, we need him. Just get him on the court. Nothing has shown that. And then we give him credit for 6-game stretches, 10-game stretches where he looks great, but we forget about what he looked like for the other parts of the season. JK has never averaged 20. He's never done anything great in the playoffs. He's a good player. We need to reset our expectations to realize he's a good player, not a great player, at least at this point, and that 16 points is great. He doesn't deserve to start. He doesn't deserve to close anything. He doesn't rebound. He doesn't assist. He's just getting buckets and transitioning at the rim. Until that changes, this is what he is, and this is what he's going to get. That's how I feel about it. But the idea that he can't play defense is asinine.
Yep. Appreciate the call, Jace. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM, and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app. And now broadcasting from the Laughing Monk Studios, Laughing Monk, righteously brewed in San Francisco.
You can't have it all, partner. And I know these players outside of the great ones, because they are great, can do it all. But I'm just being real. I'm going to defend Pods. He don't need me to defend him, just like I defended Jonathan Kuminga, Stoney, and I know he needs to rebound more. But Pods can be my PG any day of the week, man. And he goes in there, he plays tough. He thinks he's better than he is. That's half the battle. He gets on the ground. He can pass. He'll shoot a shot in the game if need be. So, again, Stoney, I'm not saying he's Gary Payton the first by any stretch, but, I mean, it's four other guys out there collectively. You know, we can run down every player in regard to their defense, but, yeah, I'm not looking at Pods as a minus by any stretch.
I mean,
how could you?
I don't want Pods as my starter. I don't want Pods to be a starter on my team. Not right now. I've
never heard you say that. That's interesting.
He's not a starter. Like, he may be, but to me, if Pods is starting, then, you know, Pods to me would be great coming off the bench right now. At I don't know how old he is. What is he, 23? Something like that. I think he's got a chance to be a starter in the NBA, but I don't think he's a starter on a. Has he been starting, Kuminga?
22.
I mean, I'm sorry, Pods? Has he been starting?
Well, when he came back, he didn't, but now he's in there, and I feel like it's not going to change.
Yeah. And I guess I would put it this way. Like, I don't think Pods can be a starter on a championship team, but that may be what he's asked to do right now.
And let's do this. I'm just for the sake of doing it. We talk about the metrics, if you believe the numbers or what have you. But last year, in a season that culminated in no playoffs but a play-in game, Stoney, this is where I'm going. And the point I'm trying to hammer home before I give it is the guy does a lot. Pods was the leader on the team in plus-minus, and it wasn't even close. So I feel like I'm watching that player more nights than not. That was just last year, but since the injury, he's come back and he's been balling. And when I say balling, he's not John Stockton, but he's giving you a little of everything. And when he was out, we missed him. I felt like this team missed his energy and hustle. So what would Kuminga come in here and say if I were able to ask him, or we were able to ask him, I'll just use Pods, like, Jonathan, why is this guy getting more rebounds than you?
I don't know, but
I would love to hear that response. Well, I'm asking, like, is there a good answer to it from you? Or like, hell nah, Goo. He could say anything under the sun. The bottom line is it's happening.
I mean, I just think it's interesting. I don't know. Like, you actually think, like, here's my thing. He's never rebounded. He's never been a great defender, and you'd like him to be better at both. And maybe he hasn't had improvement in those areas after 3.5 years. And Steve Kerr's like, he's not gotten better in the aspects that he's weak at. And he's got to get better at those kind of things. Let's go to City Boy. What's up, City? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I hope you guys are well too.
Thank you, buddy.
Back at you.
It's funny how a couple of tough games and a couple of losses can change everyone's tune. I mean, my goodness, this happens. The Lakers got beat by the Bulls by 31 last night, right? I mean, Washington beat Denver. I mean, it's one. There's tough stretches for all teams. And by the way, Steve brought it up before JK came back. He told us all this was going to be a process integrating him back onto this team, right? Did we forget that? I mean, it's not easy to take 2 months off and get on the court. And Matt, you played a lot of ball in your day. You tell me, when you take 2 months off from an injury, what's the last thing to come back?
Well, for me, it was my athletic ability. I'm kidding.
I think it's your legs.
It's just your feel. Your feel in your legs, sure.
Yeah. So for me, he's getting his legs under him still. We're talking, what has he been back? 4 games, And 16 points in the first half, that's a nice sign. I totally 100% agree with everyone that talks about his rebounding. But let's be honest, before he got hurt, that was the best we had seen out of Jonathan in his career over, 3-4 weeks, right? Yeah. The best we had seen him play. I mean, I went to the Houston game, and when Steph was out, and he went for like 33, 34, something like that. Houston's, the 3 seed, the 2 seed? He was the best player on the court that night, all right? This is the potential. This is what fans of Jonathan see, right? And then it's frustrating to see him come back to where he was. But that leads into, Matt, what you talked about. This kid's only been playing ball for about 5-6 years. I mean, it's not that easy. And by the way, when we're looking for him to become the butterfly coming out of the cocoon, we started to see it. The timing of that injury was just really unfortunate for him and for the Warriors. And now they got him back so late in the season, they're trying to integrate him back and get him up to speed in the games that matter most, right? Which is why you're seeing Steve be tight with the minutes, because he knows the cohesion isn't there, and he knows that Jonathan's game isn't where anybody wants it to be right this minute. We're hoping he can pull it together by the end of the year and be that player we saw, 2.5 months ago. We're going to find out. I don't think any of us know. But I can tell you right now, this dude was on a heater before he got hurt. And I expect that to continue. It's funny when people bring up his past and hold his track record against him, when this kid is a year younger than Anthony Edwards. And Steve Kerr at the Olympics was telling Edwards, the evolution of you as a player to become a real superstar is to rebound.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this happens. Players evolve and they get better. Jonathan is 22, and he's 22 until October. I mean, he doesn't turn 23 until we tip off next season. I'm very optimistic. Am I going to say he's going to be the cornerstone of the franchise? I mean, I'm hoping he is. I can't say whether he will be, and Matt, you're a master fence sitter. Let me tell you, you play both sides so well. I mean, you're real good at it. I'd love to hear you take a position on Jonathan in his future.
Okay, I got you, City.
City boy.
And you know what? Here's my position on him, and I have this guy's career in front of me. I don't want to trade Jonathan Kuminga, but I also don't believe he's ready to be a factor in a long playoff run. To me, he's Jermaine O'Neal. Jermaine O'Neal was drafted at 18 years old by the Portland Trailblazers, who were a good team when they brought Jermaine O'Neal in. He played 10 minutes a night, 13 minutes, 9 minutes, and 12 minutes. He did not play the first 4 years of his career, Jermaine O'Neal, because he was on Portland. Kuminga's played a lot more than Jermaine O'Neal did his first year. What do they have in common? Jermaine O'Neal came right out of high school, and Jonathan Kuminga essentially came right out of high school. It took Jermaine O'Neal, a big guy, 4 or 5 years to find himself and to realize what he had to do to be a great pro. Jonathan Kuminga, you can tell me, Siney, this is his 4th year, and I'll say, and he's only 22. I don't think 4 years is that long a time for a project. So I'm where I've always been with Kuminga. I don't know what you do with him now, but I wouldn't have given up first-round picks for him, And I don't think he's going to be, I think at 25 or 26, he's going to be a better player, a much different player. But I do think people expect too much out of him right now. And he's not as good as some people think. But I'm not ready to give up on him. That's where I'm at with Kuminga.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got a decision to make, right? And we'll find out. And again, if I'm wrong, I apologize, Donnie. But at the end of the day, I thought the better you played, especially with the recency bias behind it all, and he still can have a great playoff. But if you feel that strongly about his future, then there shouldn't be a question for the Warriors. I'm bringing them back. But I just have a problem with, if you're really that patient, 25, 26, not 24, man, we're waiting right now because they need that guy or that role to be filled. And right now, I think he's the leader in the clubhouse. So I would tell Jonathan, unfortunately, the Steinmetz of the world think you'll be ready in 3 or 4, but the Warriors, Curry, Dre, and Butler will probably be gone by then. They need it now.
And that's why he'll probably excel in 2 or 3 years. Because right now, they have 2 forwards that the coach thinks are way better than Kuminga right now. I do believe if, let's say the Warriors never trade for Butler and Kuminga comes back from injury and they were 28 and 29. Guess what? Kuminga would have been given the same role that he had when he left. Because they were a 500 team at that point, and without him, they'd been but what they've shown is that with Butler, they're a completely different team and one that looks to be a lot better. 888-957-9570 is the number. Warriors take on the Miami Heat tomorrow. Jimmy Butler heads back to Miami, and the Warriors are coming off a tough loss to the Atlanta Hawks. What's coming up on the game is presented to you by Fremont Bank, here for you, here for good. Hey, spring into action at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, your 15-minute drive-through oil change. Stay in your car while friendly technicians, they're going to check oil, batteries, lights, tires, and more. Locations and coupons at BayAreaOilChange.com. That's BayAreaOilChange.com. And don't forget, all vehicles are welcome.
Hey, it's Willard for Underdog Fantasy. Call it like you see it.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All right, the college basketball tournament is here, and you can stay up to date on all the tourney action via our bracket challenge on 957thegame.com. And be sure to tune in to KPIX Channel 5 for tourney highlights, live updates, and to see your favorite 957 The Game hosts share their thoughts on the tournament. That's right. How you doing in that?
I got 98 points to your 100.
Oh,
so I'm
right
on the
there.
heels of you. But
You're
I'm
right
not
there.
going to win.
Why not?
I had St. John's winning it all.
Oh, did you?
I went in and Evan kind of broke my heart. I was like, well, if I get 3 of the final 4, nah, Goo, you're done.
Well, this is the good part.
Dude,
Damn! This is the nice part because you play 17 pools.
Well, I
and
only got
brackets.
2 others.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I got Florida and Tennessee. I'm not doing too well in those. So, yeah, this was the
Oh,
best
you have
one.
Tennessee also to win
Yeah.
one? Which one? Lucas?
Lucas's, and I'm 4th in that one. So
No.
yeah, I'm 19.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy tried to act like he didn't know.
I'm the highest guy with Tennessee.
Yeah, all right.
So
in my other brackets, I got Florida and Tennessee winning, but I'm so far down. To hell with the brackets.
you've been watching any of the tournament?
All of it.
What'd you do Saturday when the Warriors were on?
Well, Cole had the TV on. Then I went to.
So did you watch the Warriors?
Yeah.
So then you didn't see Wisconsin.
Oh, Steiny's called multiple screens?
Well, I don't think Cole had them.
No, my boy June. By that time, I was at June's house. I was making my rounds. So we watched the game there on multiple screens.
What'd you think of Wisconsin's big guy? What's his name again?
I like him,
you follow the
but
game.
I'm bad with names. But I think he might have some action on the next level.
Oh, really?
But he traveled. I'm talking about the Maryland guy, the 3 steps.
Well, getting ready for the NBA.
Well, that's a 2.
Larry in Berkeley. Hey, Larry, how you doing?
Hey there, guys. How are you?
Hey, Larry.
Hey, listen, I think you guys are a little bit too hard on Kuminga. Let me give you my take on it. The last caller really laid a lot of things out that I was going to say. But look, the Warriors have been 16-4 since Jimmy got there. And they laid an egg after the best homestand ever at 6-1 and travel. They laid an egg. It happens. But, and the team went, by the way, from 24th in fouling to I think it's 1st or 2nd in fouling. So that's part of the Jimmy effect. They're getting points because they're not fouling as much. And it's understandable why Kuminga would lay off and not try to foul people. That's part of the reason. Plus the fact he's trying to fit in. Here's a guy who was out 30 days with injury. Nobody wants to disturb the Jimmy effect. And by the way, when you talk about defense, tell me, what's the rating of the Warriors in team defense in the league? I think they're 3rd or 4th. So how can you lay anything at this guy's shoulder because they had one bad game and he's trying to recover from an injury and doesn't want to bother the Jimmy effect? I think you need to cut him a break.
Hey, Larry, before you go, and I mean this, and I'd like to hear your answer. I mean, Steiny, and I'm who I am, but I feel like he's been against Kuminga and I've been for JK, but your reaction is like it's all been negative and it's not that. So kind of puzzling a little bit. I've been pro Kuminga the whole show.
No, I know you have, but I think you're more neutral. Yes, you're positive, but you're not positive in force like your opponent is.
Yeah.
He's really negative. He's making the case. Get Jonathan out of there, and Kurt doesn't know how to coach. That's what's coming across to me listening to you guys. Anyway,
Kurt doesn't know how to coach? No. It's Larry, I think separate from what I feel about Kuminga, I think Steve Kerr.
That's interesting.
Like it's Steve Kerr's the guy who's not crazy about him, and that's what we've seen for 3.5 years. So when Goose says Steiny, I think they need him to reach their potential, and I think he's 25, 30 minutes a game. That's when I say, well, I wouldn't count on it because Steve Kerr's got a track record with Kuminga, and he doesn't give him automatic minutes. That's all.
Yeah, my answer to that is this is a very sensitive 22-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And he reacts. And Steve, to his credit, well, he's on a treadmill, a tightrope. if he does this, he's trying to nurse them along, and that's what makes Steve Kerr so good. He's got the twin effect, the old guys and the young guys, bringing them together.
Yeah.
And, that was a big deal 2 years ago with Jonathan Poole. And when it didn't work out, everybody said the dual effect is no good. We never should have done it. And everybody was saying the same thing for the first half of this year. All of a sudden, Jimmy comes in, and now we're touting it. It's the old guys and the new guys. It's not the old guys versus the new guys. This is really a tightrope, a treadmill, and everybody's got a personality here. I wouldn't want to be the coach of this. This is like a monster technical problem here, psychological problem for a player who's very sensitive. You can hear it when he talks and how he acts. And, I don't blame him for laying off and not fouling people. But on the other hand, the team's not fouling people. That's why they've switched the script.
Gotcha.
I mean, they're making points on fouls. They're not making points on crazy three-point nonsense, which is enough to drive anybody nuts. Speaking of which, our boy Steph will throw out something from the graveyard without even thinking about it and making passes over his shoulder into the stand. Nobody says a word about it.
No, I hear you, Larry. Well, that's because it's Steph.
No, but he's bringing more to the table to offset those moments. Checks and balances.
Well, Curry doesn't have to bring anything to the table other than shooting, and he'll still be a net positive. Not that he doesn't. Yeah. Like, he's always going to play. I just feel, I just don't think it's Kuminga's time right now.
That is, like, if I were to ask you what's the...
He's a rookie right now. No, I think he plays like a rookie.
And Stunny, I'm being real. I think it's unfair to talk about Kuminga and what's not happened in the 3 years prior. Like, it's about the now. It's about it happened. He don't need to apologize that Butler wasn't a part of the team when he had his most success this season. He gets hurt. But for you to say, this is where we veer apart, outside of this game Saturday in regard to the allocation of the minutes in the second half, what gives you that gut instinct that you really feel like Kerr, like I think Kerr is really, I'm rolling with this guy, do or die. And if you look at the roster, I think there's no other solution to that. And I get it because I think Jonathan can be that. What's at your center of your gut when you say, I just feel like Kerr's.
Have you been watching how Kerr's coached him for 3.5 years?
See, and that's what I was trying to say. If you can, it's about this time. You don't got the same rosters you had the last 3 years.
Right. You have two forwards that are stars. Like, that's the other thing. Forget where does he play? How does he play 30 minutes a night if you have Butler and Draymond Green? Because, you put Green at center, Kuminga at 4, and Butler at 3.
Let's go.
You got rebounding issues. You can't get a rebound then, and you'll be overwhelmed inside. Now, is that Kuminga's fault? No, it is not Kuminga's fault. But Kuminga has to feel the fallout, because he's the guy, of Kerr playing Draymond Green at 5. If he plays Draymond Green at 5, that means he wants to play Butler at 4. And, I'm not the one saying Moody's better than Kuminga. Steve Kerr's the one saying Moody's more effective than Kuminga.
But
that's all I can tell you.
And I love
Why
Moses
did he even want to move? Why did he even... What got into his head, Steve Kerr's, to even think about using Moody at 4?
Well, that's where I was going. But he almost made you do that, Moody, by his play. Because let's be honest, he was held in captivity. Moody was not being... We were fighting on the air. He was not playing. Right. So he forced Kerr's hand because they got rewarded by his stellar play.
He didn't get playing time at 2. Kerr found a place where he could play, which was at 4, and part of that was probably because Kuminga was out, and maybe he discovered that Moody's a better fit at 4 with some of their personnel than Kuminga is.
So you think if that wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have seen this growth from Moody to where he'd be 2 or anywhere else on the court, but you feel like because Kerr had the vision of him at 4, that helped Moody in regard to getting him on the court?
Yeah, I think it did. Because I don't think that he'd like to play him at 2. Because 2's a different position.
Well, that's what he played Saturday.
Yeah. Let's go to Moose is in San Jose. Hey, Moose, how you doing?
Hey, good afternoon, fellas.
Hey.
I just wanted to say, I'm going to start out by saying I think Steiny's been on point all day with Kuminga. Look, Kuminga is not the reason that they lost the game yesterday, but when have you come out of a Warrior game, even when he was playing well prior to the injury, and said, hey, without Kuminga tonight, you lose this game? You never really say that, because truly he doesn't really do anything above average. He's a decent slasher and dunker, but if that's all you are in the NBA, you're not going to have a career. You got to be able to play make. You made a comment earlier that Jordan Poole, he was the microwave, right? Instant offense, but Steiny, you said he's a playmaker, and I started really thinking about it. Kuminga doesn't play make really for anybody. He doesn't necessarily defend the best player on the other team. So then you're looking at like, okay, well, how do we get him on the floor? He's going to defend the best guy. Well, he doesn't defend the best guy. So it's hard to find minutes for a guy. And then I go back to, look, I'm 5'10". I'm not a big athlete, nothing like that. But there's certain things on a basketball court that I think about that I can understand that allowed me to play basketball, or still till this day, a couple times a week. Kuminga, I hate to say it, 7-8 years he's been playing. That's fine. He doesn't have that, and Pods has that, and that's why Pods is on the floor. He has these intangibles that you talk about at the end of a game that you think about. Oh, well, Pods was doing this. Pods got the rebounds at 6'3". He's doing this. He's doing that. You never really have those intangible things to talk about with Kuminga. Again, not to say he can't learn that, but in my honest opinion, learning it at 22 years old in the professional, the greatest league on the planet, it's not going to be he's not going to increase that level of intelligence so much that now he's going to become a $40 million a year player. He's a $15 to $20 million a year guy at best. And I honestly think the fact that you didn't have to trade him in the Jimmy Butler thing was the best scenario ever, because now you got to flip him this summer. You got to flip him for someone like a Bojan Bogdanovic, someone of that level on another pick. You don't need another guy to come out here and be the 2 or 3 scorer. You need a guy to come out here and be smart as hell on the court, make all the right moves for the Jimmy Butlers and the Steph Currys and the Draymonds on the floor. Kuminga, as good as he may be, he's not a fit for this team, for this company. He might do better on another team. That's fine, with some hollow numbers, but it's not working with this team. And I'm taking these 3 games or 5 games out of it. I'm just saying in general, the last few years with us, he hasn't learned the things that the team has asked him to do and got better at the things they need him to do. Guys like Pods show up and do it. They just do it just like that.
Appreciate it, Moose. Thanks for the call.
Man, he said a lot I want to disagree with, but that's his truth. But Stotty, I'll put the right on the table. Brought to you by Atco. It's the I word we've been using, man. Can you learn those intangible things, or do you just have it or you don't?
Well, he hasn't learned it by now, so I can't. I view him. I just, for the life of me, I look at Jonathan Kuminga as a guy who, when he was drafted, had no clue how to play basketball. And that might be too harsh, but I don't think he had any clue how to play pro basketball.
So what attracted the Dubs?
What attracted the Dubs was they think his upside was great. But I'll say this a million times. If they thought, give me a name of a project who developed in 3 years in the NBA. Like, the nature of a project is when you draft a project, you can't expect him to be a finished product in 2 or 3 years.
Jermaine said all his 4.
4 years he didn't play. Then he got traded to Indiana, a place where it was the right time, right place. He was 23. They needed him, they needed a center. And
so what do you do in the meantime? Because to that
play him limited minutes.
But that's not reality. I don't believe, Steiny.
He's going to be used right. Like, what's happening right now, I anticipate happening the rest of the season. He's going to get 15, 20 minutes a night. And if it's a game that he's playing well, he'll probably get more than that. If it's a game where he's not playing as well, he'll get 15 to 20 minutes.
Well, in a game that, to the naked eye, Steiny, I didn't have the defensive cam up, but in a game to where the Atlanta Hawks, their team shot almost 60%, 57 from the field, I'm not disagreeing with Kerr, because all that matters is his opinion. But a guy that scores you 16 points in the first half of a basketball game must really be bad at the other things for him not to get his number called that much second half. So that's why
devil's advocate.
Me moving forward, I got to really be cool on because I didn't come to you and say, he scored 16, he's a made man. No, but I'm just saying,
what else
to that caller's point, Kerr kind of backed him up on that Saturday in regard to him not seeing the floor much at all, even though he got you 8 buckets in the first half. Like, that says a whole lot for something I want to disagree with, and I can't. So hopefully he can work on those things that, you know what I mean? Like, you're laughing.
I am laughing. When's he going to work on it?
They don't, tomorrow night?
Okay. Like, that's foolish.
But
so he's going to rebound starting tomorrow?
But
I don't get it.
Well, it's just like when somebody goes on a run in any sport. Somebody starts hitting the ball, catching the ball, or running the ball. It just happens. But my point is he will not be stripped of the opportunity. And all I was going to bring up was the one point the caller made, that last caller, was, yeah, you would like the Bogdanoviches of the world, but you don't have them, so you don't have them. And right now you got to go with what you have, and Jonathan Kuminga is the best thing you have coming off the bench to me.
In what aspect is he the best thing coming off the bench?
Basketball.
So if Steve Kerr's like, man, we're getting hammered on the glass tonight, I got to go with Jonathan.
Well, who would you go with?
Anybody but him.
But
if it were rebounding, like that's the thing. It's like, so he's only going to put Kuminga in when he thinks Kuminga can accomplish the things. It's like, we need, you know what? Our defense is not very good tonight. Let's go to Jonathan. No, we need scoring tonight. We need a guy who can create. Okay, now that's Jonathan. But anything other than that, there are other guys who provide, according to Steve Kerr, way more than Kuminga provides in some of the other aspects of the game. And, like, it feels to me like,
talk to me.
It feels to me like what you're saying is, Steiny, I know he hasn't rebounded his entire career, but he might start tomorrow.
No doubt about it.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm being serious. I am being serious.
They don't have time to do that.
Well,
they're trying to win a title.
Right.
Like, they can't.
But on a bad day, he got 22 minutes at the office, Donnie, and I believe that's going to grow. Like, you're just not that deep enough to allow him to just sit and be a bump on a pickle. And nobody's saying that's on the horizon.
And they're not good enough to play a one-dimensional player 30 minutes a night. Especially when they love their forwards. They love Butler and they love Draymond Green. And, like, that's the other thing. And this is not me. Yeah. All right, Steve Kerr is entering the fourth quarter of a game, and it's the playoffs. I mean, like, he's going to go with Butler, and he's going to go with Draymond, and he's going to go with Curry, and he's probably going to go with Gary Payton II, who's got rings. And then he's probably going to go with Moody and or Podziemski. You know why I think that? Because that's what he's done for Jonathan's career.
Or you believe those other two players are more versed in regard to their overall game?
Yes, I do. I think they are. And do you disagree?
No, I do. I agree with you in that assessment. But I think what Jonathan does good on a great day can change the outcome of a basketball game more so than the others. Now, Moody and Pods can still change a game. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you, Steiny, you're going to laugh. I'll retire Kawhi Leonard because you don't like it. But the bottom line is he is their secret weapon. He is their Vinnie Johnson. You may not like it. He is your Sean Livingston. You may not like it.
Why would you compare him to Sean Livingston, one of the most well-rounded, smart players?
I only did that because the first man off the bench, and that's why I was going with Sean Livingston. Because that's what Kuminga is.
If he were Sean Livingston, he would be playing night in and night out on this team. And he'd be putting
some money on some contracts with some zeros on it, and there would be nothing to be talked about. But I'm just telling you, if I'm running this team, Steiny, pluses or minuses, he's the first guy coming off the bench.
Even though he hasn't earned it.
Well, I could say he earned it before he got hurt. Like, we're day 5, day 6, day 4 of him playing with this new team. Like, I think that's unfair. And I think it's really unfair, you, Steiny, to you doing the whole enchilada. I know it's Taco Tuesday tomorrow, but you doing the whole enchilada in regard to what he hasn't done in 3.5 years.
Right.
But we kind of all know that's kind of like
what?
Par for the course. Like, we know that.
Right. So you want to play a guy who for 3.5 years doesn't do what you want him to do.
And that's what gets frustrating, Steiny. No, you're missing the part where he's playing his best basketball up until he got hurt.
Right. And they were not a good team at that point.
Okay, but see, that's unfair. When he starts doing his job, you start going to they. Let's just, can I hear you say he was playing his best basketball?
Yeah, for a 500 team.
No, let me hear you say Jonathan Kuminga was playing his best basketball before he got hurt.
Jonathan Kuminga was scoring more than he's ever scored when he got hurt. Was his rebounding better? Was his passing better? Was his defense better? Were all the other things he's got to do, were they better? I don't know.
But it seems like when the answer is yes, then you throw in what the team is not doing as a whole and making it seem like that's something else he needs. That's on him when that's on everybody.
On him. It's on him to be better than when he left because the team thinks they can win a title now. So everything changed. Getting 30 points for a 500 team doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're not winning the games. I don't think Steve Kerr believes that Kuminga's earned the right to play every night because of what he's done for the last 3.5 years and that he can run him out there.
Well, I'll leave it at this. I hear you. I don't expect a reduced role from this kid moving forward, and that's assuming they make the playoffs.
Let's go to James in New York. What's up, James? How you doing, man?
What's up, guys?
Hey.
How you doing?
Hey.
Doing well, man.
I just wanted to hit two quick points.
All right.
One for you, Guru, and one for you, Steiny.
All right.
In terms of the team, the defense, like you're not thinking the defense is that great. I think it's more the team doesn't have amazing individual defenders, but they're smart enough to where when they're on a string, the team defense is great relative to the league. But when they aren't on a string, you see a lower floor because they don't have those athletes at every position.
Fair.
And as far as Kuminga, why I think he didn't play, I feel like Kerr is like he wants to make the game as simple as possible for Kuminga. And if you look at that Sacramento Kings game, that was like the epitome of what he wants him to do. 18 efficient points. He was a play finisher. He was rebounding. He was getting assists. All on the floor of the offense. And to me, that's easier than handing him the ball at the top of the key and telling him to go to work. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And I think he's just kind of frustrated that Kuminga is kind of resorting back to old habits. So I think he's trying to make a point now, like, listen, are you going to listen to what I'm trying to the information I'm trying to give you and, the help? Or are you going to just keep, pounding against the wall, wanting to do your own thing? Because the team doesn't really succeed when it's just Kuminga ISO ball because he doesn't see the floor that well yet, which, that can come later. But
right.
If he's a play finisher, running the floor, rebounding, I think you'll see his minutes go way up. And that's when, to Goo's point, that's when the team ceiling is going to be reached.
Appreciate the call, James.
Yeah, I know we're up against it, Johnny, but there was a point being made by the second half of him not getting his number called. Jonathan has to know that, right? Whatever it was, I feel like it was delivered. You would hope.
We still played 22 minutes. Like, that's not chopped liver. Maybe Kerr felt like I'm going to give Jonathan a big opportunity this first half.
termite treatments and a 2-year guarantee on their work. Call 800-PACIFIC, 800-PACIFIC, or go to PacificCoastTermite.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions. You to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter